October 2025 will be the biggest crypto ETF month in history. January 2024 changed crypto forever when US Bitcoin ETFs launched. Well, this October is about to be 10 times bigger and our crypto bags will love it. As usual, I'm not giving you any financial advices here and I encourage you to do your own research. Bitcoin got one ETF approval and went from $42,000 to $124,000. This month, 16 different crypto ETFs face final deadlines. Solana, XRP, Litecoin, Cardano, all getting the institutional access that made Bitcoin 3x. October 2025 is the month that altcoins go mainstream. When we look at the data, Bitcoin ETFs became the most successful launches in ETF history, over $140 billion in just 21 months. But that was just the beginning, because now is the moment traditional finance opens the floodgates to altcoins. More than a dozen different crypto ETFs have final deadlines this month, and the SEC just made a move that virtually guarantees approval. By the end of this video, you will know exactly which cryptos are getting ETFs first, why the SEC asked issuers to withdraw their filings at the end of September, why Bloomberg analysts are now calling approval odds 100%, and most importantly, what all that means for our bags. Let me paint the picture of where we were last month, before the groundbreaking news. Until September 17th, launching a crypto ETF meant going through a grueling 240-day approval process. Each ETF needed individual SEC approval, case by case. It was like asking permission to build each house in a neighborhood one by one. But here's one successful example. BlackRock's IBIT ETF has dominated since its launch and attracted over $60 billion in net inflows in just 21 months. The fund holds over 768,000 Bitcoin. That makes it one of the most successful ETF launches in history, guys. But here's what was crazy. Even with that massive success, getting approval for other crypto ETFs was still a nightmare. Each altcoin needed its own separate regulatory battle. But the SEC now says enough is enough. Two events that took place in September have changed the status quo and will reshape the entire crypto market. But before we get to these, a quick reminder on how a crypto ETF used to go live until now. Two documents were required by the SEC. A document that details the ETF structure and strategy. That's called an S1 form. And B, a document from the exchange, for instance NASDAQ or NYSE in ARCA, asking permission for the SEC to change their own listing standards each time a new ETF was introduced. A process that often took months. Two documents, months of waiting. Well, here are the two events in September that dramatically changed the process. First, on September 17th, the SEC approved what they call generic listing standards for crypto ETFs. From that moment on, instead of waiting 240 days for individual approval, crypto ETFs can now launch in just 75 days as long as they follow the newly introduced unified standards. The SEC just went from reviewing houses one by one to approving entire subdivisions at once. Then, the second huge development. Less than 2 weeks later, on September 29th, the SEC asked all the major ETF issuers to withdraw their individual ETF filings. When I first read the headlines, I thought, this looks bad. My PTSD from the previous SEC leadership kicked in. I thought, alright, the SEC crypto honeymoon is over, we're done. But it turns out it was actually the best news possible. Bloomberg journalist Eleanor Terrett broke the news. The SEC has asked issuers of Litecoin, XRP, Solana, Cardano, and Doge ETFs to withdraw their 19B4 filings. And she continues, following the approval of the generic listing standards, which replace the need for those filings. So basically withdraw your filings because they're now obsolete. We don't need them anymore to approve your ETF. What all this means is exchanges can now list spot crypto ETFs without waiting for case-by-case approval, as long as the underlying crypto meets 3 basic requirements, and I'll tell you more about these in a minute. I still doubted if I was getting something wrong, but here's Bloomberg analyst Eric Balkunas, whose ex-post reassured me. The odds are really 100% now. Generic listing standards make those filings and their clock meaningless. Now that sounds great in theory, but here's where October becomes absolutely crucial for my portfolio and yours too in practice. October is being called ETF month by analysts. 16 crypto ETF applications have final deadlines scattered through October, starting this week, guys. Canary Capital's Litecoin ETF had their first deadline on October 2nd. Then we get a flood. Grayscale Solana conversion on October 10th. 6 different XRP ETFs between October 17th and 25th, plus dogecoin and cardano applications. James Seifert from Bloomberg said this will be enormous next few weeks for spot crypto ETFs. But here's the shocking part. The SEC can now approve all of these at once if they want to. The withdrawal of the 19B4 filings removes individual timelines. This creates a potential batch approval where we could see multiple altcoin ETFs launch simultaneously. And the eligibility criteria show this is just the beginning. Let me break down exactly what makes a crypto eligible for this fast-track approval. There are 3 main criteria, and a crypto only needs to meet one of them. First, the cryptocurrency must have CFTC-regulated futures contracts trading for at least 6 months. Second, the crypto must be part of another ETF where it represents at least 40% of the fund's assets. And third, the crypto must trade on a regulated market with proper surveillance agreements. According to multiple analysts, 10 cryptocurrencies currently meet these criteria. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, XRP, Litecoin, Dogecoin, Chainlink, Stellar, Shiba Inu, and Polkadot. Cardano and several others are expected to qualify very soon. That's potentially 12 to 15 different crypto ETFs that could launch in the next few weeks. But let's talk about what really matters, the money flowing into these products. The numbers are absolutely insane. Bitcoin ETFs now hold $144 billion in assets. That's more than 6% of Bitcoin's entire market cap. Cumulative lifetime inflows hit 57 billion. BlackRock's IBIT alone manages 88 billion with about 800,000 Bitcoin in holdings. But here's what's really interesting. We are seeing massive volatility in institutional flows in the short term. Now, institutions understand Bitcoin as digital gold. We get that. But altcoins need clearer narratives to attract institutional money. So, which cryptos are most likely to succeed when their ETFs launch next month? Based on the October deadline schedule, here's what I expect to see approved in order. Litecoin led the pack with an October 2nd deadline. It's the beta test for altcoin ETFs. Simple narrative, established futures, and Canary Capital is betting big on first mover advantage too. Solana ETFs follow on October 10th with Grayscale's trust conversion. Vaneck, 21 shares, and others have applications ready. The way I see it, Solana's gaming ecosystem and mobile integration provide compelling institutional narratives. XRP is the wildcard with 6 different applications between October 17th and 25th. Franklin Templeton, Wisdom Tree, Bitwise, and others are all competing. Bloomberg analysts say approval odds are now 100%. But here's my bold prediction, guys. The SEC approves multiple ETFs simultaneously to avoid picking winners. This batch approval creates fairness and prevents first mover advantages. But before you get too excited, let me share some important warnings. The key factors for altcoin ETF success will be A. Clear investment thesis. B. Institutional demand beyond retail hype. C. Sufficient liquidity and market cap. And D. Competitive fee structures. Also remember, Canada already has Solana ETFs that have attracted nearly 300 million since April. If the US delays, international competition could steal market share. Remember that. So what does this all mean for your investment strategy? First, this is massive validation for crypto as an asset class. When the SEC asks for 19B4 withdrawals because they're unnecessary, that's regulatory acceptance, and I see it as incredibly bullish. Second, expect increased correlation between crypto and traditional markets. As institutional money flows in through ETFs, crypto becomes more tied to stock market sentiment. Whether more predictability and less volatility is good for your current crypto strategy, I leave it to you. But I know it's good news for my long-term holdings. Third, this could trigger the next major bull run. ETF inflows provide consistent buying pressure. Look what happened to Bitcoin. It went from $42,000 to over $124,000 after the ETF approval. Now, here's my biggest prediction. October 2025 marks the beginning of institutional altcoin season. When pension funds can buy Solana as easily as Apple stock, that changes everything. We could see a massive rotation from Bitcoin dominance back to altcoins as these ETFs launch. This is literally uncharted territory. And this isn't just happening in America, this creates global regulatory competition. Europe and Asia are watching closely as the US takes the lead. The generic listing standards model will likely be copied worldwide within 12 months, I think. China recently asked brokers to pause real-world asset tokenization in Hong Kong, showing Beijing's concern about the US gaining crypto finance advantages. This is becoming a tool of financial soft power. When American investors can buy XRP ETFs but Chinese investors cannot, that creates geopolitical pressure for regulatory harmonization. So, where does this all lead us? By December 2025, I predict we'll have ETFs for at least 8 to 10 major cryptocurrencies, plus several index funds. The total crypto ETF market could reach $400 billion in assets under management. The real game changer will be when these ETFs start offering additional features. We're already seeing applications for Ethereum staking ETFs that could pay yields to holders. Imagine earning staking rewards in your traditional brokerage account. We might also see thematic ETFs like DeFi baskets, gaming crypto funds, or layer 1 blockchain indices. Grayscale already launched their digital large cap fund in September with nearly $750 million in assets, holding Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, XRP, Cardano, all in the single basket. Now, here's my final verdict. October 2025 will go down as the month crypto ETFs went mainstream. The combination of generic listing standards and the 19B4 withdrawals of the previous month means over 100 ETFs are coming at some point, whether we're ready or not. For normie investors, October represents unprecedented access to institutional-grade crypto exposure. For crypto markets, this means billions in new institutional inflows. For altcoins, this could be the catalyst that breaks Bitcoin dominance and starts the next major bull run. And for us, crypto degens, it means Lambos. Okay, I've said enough now. So it's your turn to tell me which October ETF are you most excited about. Is it Litecoin, Solana, or one of those 6 XRP ETFs? Drop me a comment below. And if this analysis helped you understand what's coming in the next few weeks, few months, then hit that like button and subscribe to the airdrops.com channel for more such takes. I'm Stan, thanks for watching, see ya.